Department of Chief Medical Examiner Coroner.
On a whole second, Doc.
This is a press release. Sunday, the autopsies of the 5 victims have been completed, and the cause of death are as follows. Miss Abigail Folger, the cause of death, stab wounds of chest causing a massive hemorrhage, and there are also stab wounds in other areas. And Mrs. Sharon Pulaski, the cause of death is multiple stab wounds of the chest and back causing penetration of the various vital organs and resulting massive internal hemorrhage. Mr. Stephen E. Parent, the cause of death is multiple gunshot wound of the chest and the various organs and causing a massive hemorrhage. Mr. Wojciech Prokowski, the cause of death is stab wound of the body and extremities and
what?
extremities and gunshot wound of back. And Mr. J. Sibling, stab wounds of the body causing penetration of the vital organs and resulting in massive internal hemorrhage. Lieutenant?
Could you read Parent again? Parent.
Pardon me?
They want the cause of death on it.
Okay. Lieutenant, do you have a comment?
Gentlemen, a rough estimate as to the time of death. As you're all aware, the telephone wires were cut at the house. We do know that the phone was in operating condition at approximately 10 p.m. and was not in a working condition at approximately 5:30 a.m.
Is it your opinion, Lieutenant, that one man could have perpetrated all these?
Of course, anything is possible. We have no solid information which will limit us to a single suspect in some of the activities that we've...
Doctor, have you determined that 3 of the 5 victims were going in different directions at the time of their death?
We have not been able to establish such volitional activity. Information that gathered from the autopsy are being analyzed at the present time.
Would you say that only one man could have committed these crimes, or more than one?
Based on the autopsy findings, we will not be able to tell.
Could Parent have committed suicide?
I would say it's very unlikely.
Are there any scuffling, any circumstances that there were a lot of scuffling or any sexual attacks or anything of that type?
No,
None at all?
no.
Have you been able to ascertain who died first?
We have not been able to establish for sure.
Have you found any weapons, Dr. Negucci or Lieutenant?
No, we have no weapons in custody at this time.
Were you able to ascertain whether the victims were taking drugs?
Well, a number of biological specimens have been taken and being analyzed, and the result may be available in a later date.
Lieutenant, where did the ropes come in? Can you give us that, where the ropes came into the picture that were found?
Well, as to how they were placed there, no, I don't have any, I can't give you any information on
Describe the scene.
There are a number of aspects of this case, gentlemen, which I'm not going to be in a position to discuss with the press because they're an integral part of our investigation. And we're going to need some secrecy relative to the physical condition of the house, the position and location of the various bodies, which we have to keep away from the general public.
Lieutenant,
In other words, we're going to be hindering our investigation. Yes.
One gun or two used? Could you outline roughly what you can tell us about the case thus far?
Yes, I can give you a brief outline. Basically, you have all of the information relative to the maid, the approximate time that she arrived at work, the fact that she discovered that the crime had taken place. You people in the news media have more information relative to the background of our victims, with the exception of Stephen Parent, than the department has in its hands right now. We're just getting into that part of the investigation. You're all aware that the telephone wires were cut, which lead into the house. As the doctors indicated on our cause of death, there were multiple stab wounds. Stephen Parent had been shot.
Did it appear that Parent was shot while trying to escape with the handbrake off and the ignition on in the car?
Well, at the time that I arrived at the scene, the car was in a drive position, the ignition was off, and the brake was not set.
Thomas Noguchi, do you know what order, did you establish what order they were killed?
No,
Figure that out at all?
no.
Lieutenant, you've arrested this 19-year-old houseboy.
Yes.
How serious a suspect is Garrison?
I'll tell you right now, at the present time, Gerritsen is taking a polygraph examination. He has legal counsel with him, and pending the results of that polygraph examination, we're really not in a position to go much further as far as putting out anything which we have connecting him with the crime.
How
He
would
maintains that he doesn't know the victims, that he was just there because of the property.
Basically, the information which we have at the present time is that he was a friend of Gerritsen's, that he had no relationship at all with the people in the front house.
We're talking about Garrison himself, the houseboy.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were referring to Steve Parent.
What about Garrison? The term houseboy was a misnomer.
Yes, completely. Actually, the house is leased. The owner of the property had hired Gerritsen to stay on the property to watch. This man's an animal lover. There were several dogs, several cats. This was his prime purpose in life up there, was to care for these animals.
So supposedly he didn't even know the victims.
Well, yeah, he knew them merely because they were on the same property. But we have nothing that shows a detailed connection with the people in the front house.
Has he continued to maintain his innocence?
Yes.
Has he told you anything at all that leads you to believe he might not be a suspect eventually?
Well, other than the fact that he has flatly denied any participation in this, and he has denied anything more than a very, very casual relationship with our victims.
Lieutenant, where did he say he was during the time of the murders?
In the guest house at the rear of the property.
Asleep?
And he heard nothing?
Heard nothing.
Are you looking for
Can you
anybody
tell-
else in connection with the crime?
We have some inquiries out on an individual,
Is it
yes.
your theory, Lieutenant, that what telephone wires were cut with somebody going out or before somebody went in?
Gentlemen, I could speculate all day long on that, and we have nothing which, until we get further into this, and our crime lab people have had a chance to examine material which was removed from the telephone pole, etc.
But you said 5:30 a.m. Was there a record of a call out of the house or into the house at 5:30?
No, there was an attempt to place a call from the guest house at approximately 5:30 in the morning. The telephone was not. By Gerritsen, according to his statement.
Lieutenant,
Why did he want to call him?
Beg pardon?
Why did he try to call him?
He didn't try to call
Oh, I
them.
see.
But he tried to use his phone?
Tried to
and
use
line
his
was dead,
phone.
too.
Yes.
Can you give us any details on the individual that you are now inquiring about?
No.
Lieutenant, were any of the victims known to you or any of the Intelligence Bureau, the narcotics, as being narcotics users or being involved with narcotics?
We have made a superficial check along those lines, and we find no connection.
Coroner, Dr. Noguchi, are you continuing tests to find out who died first or in what order? Or is your autopsy concluded?
Well, we have not analyzed the data yet. We will try to ascertain such information if possible.
When will this might be released if you do ascertain the information?
Well, we This is a very, very difficult area, even determine.
I'd like to clarify this point relative to the red Ferrari. We have information from one of the victim's fathers that they own a 1967 red Ferrari. That car is missing from the property. We don't know the location of the car. There is the possibility that the car was taken by our murder suspect. There's also the possibility it's in a repair shop somewhere. These are things we're not going to be able to check out until tomorrow morning.
Whose car was that, Lieutenant?
It was registered to Roman Polanski.
Doctor, is the man you're looking, is the person you're looking for a man or a woman?
Dr. Noguchi, had any of
The person we're making inquiries on at the present time is a man.
Thank you.
Dr.
From
Noguchi, has
Southern
any of the
California?
victims been sexually
Don't
molested
pin me
or
down.
were the bodies mutilated?
There was no evidence of a sexual molestation in this case.
Lieutenant, what kind of a party was...
mutilation? Had any of the vital organs been cut off or anything?
No.
Lieutenant, was the guest house in disarray as was the dining room of the main home in disarray?
I think there's some question in everybody's mind relative to the condition of the porch which leads into the guest house. We had some uniform officers at the time they arrested Garrettson out there. After viewing the bodies on the lawn, they go back to check the guest house. They don't know whether there's anybody there or not.
What about the foreground of the murders?
Well, there was no indication of any wild party taking place.
Was
No.
there any indication of drinks on the tables?
There were no alcoholic beverages on the tables in the front room
Were
at
the
all.
beds in disarray or been slept in or gave evidence of being slept in? Any of the beds in the house?
No, here again, gentlemen, I don't want to answer that.
Did you find any drugs on the table?
No.
Was there any evidence of a struggle inside? Anything
Well-
knocked over, this kind of thing?
Couch had been shifted, but this would be normal if, there was a slight struggle there. We didn't have any thing with the tables turned over and the couch on one end and vases broken, and et cetera, things of that, no.
You say that, no, just a moment. You say there was nothing like that?
Well, nothing to the degree which you're talking about a violent struggle.
Were there any lamps knocked over? Were there any glasses knocked over? Were there any pictures knocked off the wall? Was there any of that kind of
No.
disarray?
Any indication of narcotics that we have paraphernalia?
What caliber pistol was used in the killing of Parent? Have you ascertained that?
Yes, we've ascertained that we're not going to release the information.
All right,
Well,
Lieutenant,
say
you say
there
there
was
was no wild party, no ritual. This sounds like a very clean, wholesome murder. Now, would you give us a guess as to what did take place? I'd really settle for that right now.
I would too. No, I'm not being smart when I say it.
Studying, can they walk or could they walk or run for a few yards or would they drop dead?
I would say none of the stab wound were classified as a stab wound causing instantaneous death.
Was it possible that they apparently seemed to be trying to escape?
Well, let me check with it.
Well, again, we have to assume that there was an attempt to escape when we find two bodies some distance apart on the front lawn.
They were not placed there on the lawns.
It's doubtful.